Hello, and welcome back to Bailey's Blueprint, the podcast that goes over various categories of creative writing and the specific distinctions in formatting, structure, and topic that place written pieces in certain categories. With that said, let's start sketching out some writing blueprints. So, hello once again, and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to college kid, creative writer, and formatting fanatic, Bailey. Today, we're going to be talking about a type of poetry called haiku. Haikus. Also, oh, good gravy. Anyways, poetry called haikus, as well as some other variations and close relatives, such as American haikus, high buns, and tankas. Tankas. They're called tankas. So, haikus are not always. Haikus are traditionally a single stanza, and they're made up of 3 lines. The more important aspect of that 3-line stuff is that you end up with 17 syllables. You have 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for your second line, and 5 syllables again for your third line. So, topic-wise, haikus are traditionally about nature or the current season, the current date, things like that, as well as the sensations and feelings that were involved when thinking about that specific time in nature. The way spring makes you feel, or the way fall makes you feel. You're just different things like that. But nowadays, haikus are used a little bit more freely, not only describing scenarios in nature, but also in cityscapes, or, just random everyday occurrences. But they're usually very, very packed with imagery and figurative language and self-reflective feelings type of things. So, the first recommendation is a short one, so I'm going to read it to you. Right. So yeah, it's I'm so sorry. I'm butchering this man's name right now. We're going to try again. Matsubasu's The Old Pond. Other translations of the title are The Ancient Pond. So The Old Pond, Ancient Pond, either one works. An ancient pond with a sound from the water of the frog as it plunges in. So, yeah, the first line has 5 syllables. The second line, a sound from the water. My bad, I read it wrong. With a sound from the water. 7 syllables, woo! And then the third line actually breaks the traditional formatting and of the frog as it plunges in. Has 8 syllables instead of 5. So, traditionally, it's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. As we've just shown, you do not have to follow that. Poetry is fun and unique, and you can bend all the rules after you know them. I'm just trying to help you know them. The next example of haiku poetry that I wanted to recommend is 14 Haiku by Sonia Stanches. Sonia Snatches. Gravy. And this poem is made up of 14 individual haikus, but they all work together to tell a really, really impactful story. It was written to honor Emmett Lewis Till. If you know anything about Emmett Lewis Till, it's a beautiful poem that pays homage to him. If you don't know about Emmett Till, I would very, very highly recommend going and looking up his story, what happened to him, and what prompted Sonia Stanches to write this poem to him, or honoring his story and what happened to him. So, 14 Haiku by Sonia Stanches is what I'm recommending you look up, and also look up Emmett Till. It's a very important and impactful moment in American history, and considering there's a poem about it, that it obviously prompted some people to react. So, other examples of standard haikus are Koi by Jennifer Wong. It's another short one, so I'm going to read it. Among heart-shaped leaves, the white fish gleams red tail. Soft lotuses sleep. So it's just really pretty imagery of the pond and the koi fish and all this stuff. And it's simple and it's heartfelt, I think, is one of the key factors of haikus. So the other one that I really, really love and that I found in my research is Malu Cycles by Maxine Hong Kingston. So this one reads, I pay. In dream, Susie's medical bill. For real, Moana bar tab. So it's simple, it's provocative, gives you almost the full picture, just enough to have sympathy for this person. Yeah, but I think that's the purpose of a haiku, is to give you the scenario along with the lingering feelings of whatever the situation was. And haikus do a really good job of that if you can capture them properly. So, moving on, the next recommendation piece that I have is Haiku by Frank Lima. This one is 4 stanzas, with the 4th, you'll find, if you look it up, the 4th stanza is modified, and it is not 3 lines, it's only 2, it trails off. But that's kind of the point of the haikus, because it's 4. Because it's painting a picture, but also including the thoughts of the situation as well. Another one that had 4 stanzas that I found was Small Poems for Big by Chinika Hodge, yes. And that one's another really, really beautiful read. It's impactful, it's evocative, it's very descriptive without being so. And it gives you a wonderful story to think about if you go and look it up. So that one's Small Poems for Big by Chinika Hodge. It's also very authentic. Cool. So, moving on to haiku variations. First up, we have high buns. I love high buns so much. They're so much fun to write, but that might just be because I like writing prose, which is kind of also considered novel writing, but prose is just like your standard paragraph writing. It can rhyme, it doesn't have to rhyme, and that's the same true for haikus in general. It can rhyme, but it does not have to. Rhyming is not required in haikus. Another beautiful thing. It's free verse. You can do whatever you want. Hopefully you'll stick to the guidelines of haikus, but as I've shown with my recommendation reads, you can do whatever you want. But high buns in general usually start with a paragraph or a couple paragraphs of prose poetry. But they do the exact same thing as regular haikus. They're seeking to captivate a moment, the emotions behind that moment. They're trying to draw you in. Their goal is to paint it in a way that leaves you with the lingering feelings of the situation or the moment or whatever it is. So, and that's just another beautiful piece of it. And so, yeah, the prose is the first part of a high bun, and the second part of the high bun is a little end tag, a little ending, a little summary, conclusion, if you will, which is the traditional haiku. So you have a bunch of prose about whatever you're talking about, and then you have a haiku to sum it all up. So in that haiku, you're going to try to put the punchline, put the main message or whatever. And then you have prose and the traditional haiku put together, and that is your high bun. So I like combining high buns. Tripping over my words. Woo! But the example piece that I found for high buns is Maureen Thorson's Time Traveler's High Bun 1989. So I think that one's written from a time traveler's perspective, which makes it a very interesting read if I do say so. But I had fun looking at it. So after high buns, we have American haikus, which are a little silly, and as Americans do, we take what we want from the rules and we toss the rest out the window. I'm sorry, anyways, American haikus. Woo! Okay. So, American haikus. These haikus are less about the syllable counting, and they're more about following the captivating essence of the traditional haikus. So that, like, awareness of situational stuff with the emotional impact. That's what we're trying to grasp. But that's what most poems are trying to grasp. So, true to its name, the American Haiku by Jack Kerouac, I believe that's how you say his last name, is the top example of this type of poem, and it might be a little debatable if it's actually a haiku because of syllable rules. American haikus don't really follow the syllabi rules, so that's why it's titled American Haiku. Yeah, and there's no denying that the type, like reading through that poem, you can still see the type of captivating essence and whatever that haikus really try to emulate. And American haikus follow in that, trying to convey a sense of situational awareness. 1 second. Oh. Ta-da! Okay. Oh, and then to finish us off, we have Tanka, which I found it's a new one for me. Did a little bit of research on it, but it's very, very similar to haikus. Oh, the only difference? Haikus have 3 lines. Tankas have 5 lines. They're both single stanza, both don't have to follow any rhyme scheme. Whew. Sorry, it's been a day. Woo! Okay. Yeah. So, tankas, while longer than haikus, they seek to do the exact same thing. They're only 2 lines longer than a regular haiku. And both of them, haikus and tankas, like to use concise description and figurative language to keep their topics kind of frozen in a little time bubble and say, hey, I had a thought about a situation. I would like to share it with my reader, you know? Or I want to write it down so I can remember later. Whatever the purpose for writing is, it's all up to you. So, but yeah. The other weird kind of thing about tankas is that the first 3 lines are generally, you can disregard this, but generally, the first 3 lines of a tanka are dedicated to the descriptions. Oh, good golly, one. Okay, we're here. The first 3 lines are dedicated to the descriptions, the imagery, different things like that. While the last 2 lines of a tanka are more about the reflection, the feelings, the invoking the emotions, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And tankas usually end up being 31 syllables, which means the first line is going to be 5 syllables, the second line is going to be 7 syllables, the third line is going to be 5 syllables again, and then the 4th and 5th lines, both of them, each separately, whatever, are going to be 7 syllables as well. So it goes 5, 7, 5, 7, 7 for tankas, while haikus are 5, 7, 5. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. The recommendations that I have for tankas, they're not exactly just for tankas though. The first one is 3 Haiku, 2 Tanka by Philip Appleman. And the second one that I had recommended for tankas is Haiku and Tanka for Harriet Tubman, which was also by Sonia Sanchez. So, yeah. And that concludes today's topic about haikus and poetry that is similar to haikus. So, hopefully, these episodes are maybe introducing you to a new type of poetry that you can use to express yourself whenever and wherever you like to write. If listeners have questions, concerns, or suggestions for future topics, or even episode critiques, I'll take them. Please make sure to leave me a comment below, and I will get back to you as soon as I look at it. So, again, thanks for listening into Bailey's Blueprint. I hope you all enjoyed, and I wish you all the best in writing out your own drafts. Bye-bye!